Hi there, I'm Joni Hoadley, the product manager coach, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to master the art of saying no as a product manager. Now, saying no is one of the most challenging responsibilities we product managers face on a daily basis. Learning how to say no in a way that is respectful, decisive, and effective is crucial to your product success and the success of your career. So I'm going to share my 5-step process to help you graciously learn how to say no as a product manager. It's a must watch for anyone looking to master this essential skill. So let's start with a typical situation, and I want you to let me know in the comments below if this sounds familiar. You start work in the morning, you fire up Slack, and you see a DM waiting for you from a salesperson, or even worse, it's in a channel where lots of people are members, including maybe your CEO or your founder. And the salesperson is asking, can you add feature A to the backlog? If we add this extra capability, I'll finally be able to close that deal with company X. How many times have we heard this, right? So your stomach does a little flip as you think, here we go again, and you hit reply and you type, hey, thanks for the feedback. I'll take a look and get back to you. And then you avoid them for as long as possible. Does that sound familiar? So many product managers worry about disappointing their stakeholders. They do a little dance around the subject to avoid saying no. By avoiding saying no as a product manager, you risk damaging the success of your product, the success of the company, and the success of your career. The reality is, you're juggling finite resources to deliver your product in a timely fashion. You have to make the best decision possible about what to build and when you can deliver it based on those resources. Not only is it critical to be willing and able to say no, but you have to do so quickly and decisively. So why should you be so quick and decisive about saying no? Because when you let those little feature requests and ideas sit on a list somewhere without taking any action whatsoever, bad things can happen. When you fail to say no and you don't manage your stakeholders effectively, you lose trust and credibility. And those are two essential traits for product managers. You lose trust with your stakeholders because they don't see you as someone who takes their feedback seriously. You lose credibility with your team because they see you just tossing more ideas onto the backlog without vetting them. I can't tell you how many product managers I know have backlogs that are just totally out of control because of this issue. And your boss loses faith in you because stakeholders might be asking them why you haven't done anything with their idea. So I think you get the picture. When you avoid saying no, you do a lot of damage. Now, let's look at the upside of saying no. As Steve Jobs once said, I'm actually as proud of the things we haven't done as the things we have done. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. And I know this to be true from my own experience. When I was a product manager at Sonos, one of the many things I was known for was saying no. Based on my experience of being quick and decisive and saying no, hopefully graciously, I've put together a 5-step process that you can use yourself. All right, let's start with step 1. Step 1 is create a dialogue with your stakeholders. When you're presented with an idea or feature request, spend some time talking and, more importantly, listening to the person to understand their idea. Try not to make assumptions and really pay attention and listen. Repeat back what they've said to you to show that you are listening. That active listening that we've all learned about, but that can be quite hard, is going to make them feel heard, which will build trust and goodwill. Second, you want to show how you prioritize your product decisions. When you help stakeholders understand how you and your team make prioritization decisions, that's going to go a long way towards helping them continue to have trust and faith in you. If you haven't already done so, document the framework that you use to make product decisions. Examples of common frameworks include RICE and Moscow. And if you're not using a framework today, you might want to check out my blog at jonihoadley.com to read more information about which frameworks might be best for you. And assuming you do have a framework, I want you to walk them through your process. Show them how their idea fits in using this process. At this point, they may realize on their own that their idea is not viable. That's the best situation to find yourself in, when you're talking them through your process and they realize, oh, I get it. This isn't the right thing for us to be building. Now, assuming that does not happen though, most cases you do need to give them some convincing. This is an excellent time to reinforce your product strategy and focus areas, and tying it into the overall company strategy can be really, really effective. All right, step 3, look for the value. Ask questions to determine the potential value of their request. In the example I gave below, this was going to help the company close a deal, right? If you're at a SaaS company, an enterprise company, that could be a significant financial, that could be a financial windfall for the company if you're able to do that. So you need to figure out what is the value of their request. So try to quantify the value with actual data. If necessary, suggest that you or they do some additional homework to really build out the data a little bit more and vet it properly. And if you need help with using data effectively, check out my 4-part blog series called The Metrics, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Okay, moving on to step 4, describe the cost and investment required. Help them understand the price associated with their idea. We often refer to this as LOE, or level of effort, right? The effort needed to implement those ideas is often enough to help them understand that the concept is not viable. Sometimes you'll need to help them understand the things your team would have to stop doing as well, right? What are the opportunity costs? That's very, very helpful. Whatever the expense associated with their idea, help them understand the rationale. Okay, the final step is the one you've all been dreading, but it's the actual part of saying no. This is the hard part, but if you've done steps 1 through 4 correctly, the person making the request will likely realize the futility of their idea on their own. If they continue to press the idea, try to use data to back up your decision. And again, if you check out my blog post, I have a great article on using data. I also have a good article that talks more about how to say no, and I will include a link to that in the comments below. All right, now I've added a bonus tip for you to help you say no. Well, actually, this isn't a tip to help you say no. This is a tip for what to do when you say no. And that is to document what you say no to in a place where others can see it. Now, when I was a product manager at Sonos, we would include a list of no things at the end of our product roadmap so that it was very clear, these are ideas that we have contemplated and we have specifically said no to, right? I mentioned the example from Apple. They've said no to probably millions of ideas, right? The more you can get in the habit of documenting what you're saying no to, the better you can socialize and make sure everybody understands, hey, we have evaluated all these ideas and we've said no, and here's why. Now, this can be an appendix to your roadmap, like I mentioned in the example I gave, or you might have a wiki page or some shared repository that you've created to summarize any features that you've decided you're going to say no to. Being transparent about what your team will not do and why you are saying no to those things will reduce ambiguity throughout your organization. Being clear and concise and effective is super important to being a successful product manager. This is going to help you build trust and credibility with your team, your stakeholders, and your boss. Now, saying no as a product manager is an essential skill that can be difficult to master. By using active listening and providing clear and direct explanations, you can effectively communicate your decisions while maintaining positive relationships with your stakeholders. The ability to say no is essential to protecting the vision and direction of your products. It's also key, as I've said, to advancing your career. By following the 5 steps outlined in this video, you can now effectively say no while keeping your job and relationships intact. Now, if you like this video and you'd like to see more, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my video channel. I also encourage you to follow me over on Instagram.